Now we will have a look at what are the type of commands we have in MySQL. So you already got what are the data type we have, but where can you use these data types, right? So in that case, you need to have a proper command. So SQL is basically based on all types of command. So basically we have 5 types of commands. We have DDL, DQL, DML, DCL and TCL commands. I know you are thinking, what are these DDL, DQN and DML commands, right? Wait, I will give you a brief and I will show you how can you implement them in MySQL as well. So first, let's start with DDL commands. So basically, DDL stands for Data Definition Language. It helps to define the database schema. Also, it deals with description of the database. Also have power to deal with creating and modifying the structure of database objects. So let's have a look at how DDL works and what are the command we have under DDL. So we have create command. So why do we use that create command? This command is used to create a database, or it also have some objects. Maybe you want to create a table, index, function, views, store, procedures and triggers, right? And there comes the drop command. But why do I need to use drop command, right? So drop is mainly if you don't want some of the part of your database, like mainly used to delete objects from the database, right? Maybe you want to delete a table, maybe you want to delete a function, view, store, something like that. Now comes the alter command. So why and where we use alter? Alter, from the name itself, you can understand you can alter something. So maybe it's used to alter the structure of the database. So let me give you an example, like maybe you create a table and after that you want to add one more attributes, which stands for columns. So in that case, using alter statement, you can actually change your structure of the table. So this is how alter works. Then comes the truncate. So what is truncate? So truncate command is used to remove all the records from a table. So which includes all memory allocated for the records are removed, right? So basically truncate is used to remove all the records from a table. Now comes the comment. So this command is used to add comments to the data dictionary. And lastly, we have rename. So what is that rename stand for, right? So this is used to rename an objects existing in the database. Now we will have a look at how can you use them using MySQL. Now we will go to MySQL software and I will show you how can you do these commands. So you already written the commands. Now I will show you what are the commands and how can you do that. So before start with that, MySQL has 3 parts, right? One is a console. Over here you can write your data or your language, structured query language. Here you will get your, like if you write one structured query language, that is SQL commands, and if you want to see your query is actually working or not, you can see over here. So it will, if you get a green tick over here, so basically, okay, your commands are running. Your commands are executed properly and you will get a message for that. And if your command has some problem, you will get an error code as well, right? But before that, let me show you how can you create your first SQL script. So basically this is known as script. Here you can see an option called file, right? You can go from here as well, or you can see over here there is a plus sign in SQL. You just need to click on there, right? And from there your script is ready, and or you can say your script where like the document is ready where you can write your script. If you want to save your script, how can you do that? So here you will get an option called save the script, right? You need to click over here and the location you gave to save your script, you will get that over here, and you need to give the name of your demo accordingly. But the extension of the demo will be .sql. So maybe you can give demo2 and then you just need to save it. And one more thing, if you don't save your data and the command you have written, so that will be lost, right? So whenever you are going to start working with MySQL, you have to be sure that your data is already saved, right? And MySQL is not case sensitive. So whenever you are going to use MySQL, you don't need to take care of the alphabets. The alphabets means the hierarchical alphabets, or maybe it's a capital letter or a small letter. You don't need to take care of that. All you need to take care the name. So that is why the MySQL is not case sensitive, right? Now we will have a look at how can you create your database. So first, if you want to create your database, you need to write a You need to write a query for that. So here you need to write create, the first command, the DDL command, right? So you need to write create, and then I'm going to write database. And then you need to give the name of your database. So for my case, maybe I'm going to give MySQL, then demo, right? So this will be my database name. Here, if you want to execute that, you need to select the hold command. Otherwise, it will not be executed. So in this case, you need to select the hold command, and then you need to press this sign, right? So you can see there is a pop-up came that execute the selected. Okay, it's gone. Okay, execute the selected portion of the script or everything if there is no selection. So if you don't put any selection, it will execute the whole query. Okay, here one more catch over here, you need to use a semicolon. So whenever you complete your query, you need to put a semicolon. So these are the syntax you need to remind whenever you are going for using SQL, or if you are going to write SQL query. Let me just select the part, and then I'm going to write a execute, right? You can see I got a message that one row is affected, and I got a green sign as well. That means my query got executed. Now, if I want to do the same thing, right? If I want to go for making the same database with the same database name, let's see my SQL software is going to take that or not. Let me execute that. Yes, I got an error message. You can see can't create database, right? It's as it is already exists. So you have to take care of that as well. Whenever you have made one database, you cannot use the same database again and again. So your all database name in MySQL Workbench is always be unique, right? Let me just delete it. Now, what I need to do, I need to say, okay, I have created my database. Now, what I need to do, I need to give a information or a instruction to my MySQL that, okay, I have created a database. Now I want to use them. To do that, we need to use a command called use, right? And under use, you need to give what database you need to add, right? Use, and then I need to copy this part, right? So this command basically give an instruction to your MySQL Workbench. Okay, I have created my database, or already I have this database. Now I'm going to use this database, right? So I said use this. Now let me execute that. Yes, you can see 0 rows affected, but this is actually worked. So now whatever the table or whatever the data you are going to add in your database, it will comes under MySQL demo, right? Now let's have a look at what are the other commands we have. Let me go to the previous slide. Okay, so already we have covered create. Now maybe I am going to use a drop command. Let's see if we can drop our databases, whatever database we have made. So we have made our database MySQL demo. Let's see if we can drop them. So dropping them means you are going to delete that database. So let me just write, or I have, yeah. So I need to write drop database and then MySQL demo. So basically you are giving an instruction to your MySQL Workbench. Okay, I have created this database. Now I want to drop them. What I want to drop? I want to drop a database. So drop database, and then you need to provide the database name. That is MySQL demo. Let me execute that. Yes, Okay. Yes, you can see drop database demo is already there and 0 rows affected. But wait, how can I see that this database doesn't exist? So in that case, you can use one more command, like it's called show, right? Show databases. Then you need to just put the semicolon, right? What it will return? It will return all the databases you have in your MySQL workbench. So let me execute that. Okay, you can see I have lots of databases, and here there is no database called MySQL demo, right? I have MySQL database, but I don't have any database called MySQL demo. So this is how we can use our DDL command using whenever we are going to make a database. Now let me just re-execute those queries. For that, we can again create our database. Yes, use MySQL demo, and then I am not going to use this, right? And then if I going to execute the show databases, let's see if it's going to show MySQL demo or not. Yes, you can see I already can get this, that MySQL demo. So this database is already there in my MySQL workbench, right? So you can be sure, okay, MySQL demo is already there. Now what I need to do, I am going to make a table. But why do we need to make a table, right? So we all know in SQL or in MySQL, what we need to do, we need to make our table, that is basically our database in a tabular form. So right, we need to go for making our first table. So how can I make them, right? So already I have written over there. Let me just copy that. And then I will just show you how I am going to use that part. You can see I have written create. So basically I am going to use the create command. Here you can see I have written database. So basically I was making a database. Now what I am making? I am making a table. So I have written this is a table. Then I need to provide the name of the table. So what is the name of the table? That is student table, right? Now what I need to give? Okay, my table name is already there. Now I need to get our attributes or the columns, right? So in that case, you need to provide the column name, but be sure about the structure, right? You can see that there is a symbol over here. That means you are writing one query, right? You are not writing multiple query. So in that case, your first bracket or the curl bracket or the round bracket, you can say it starts from here. Then you need to write the attributes name. The first attributes for me is student ID. Then what type ID I want? I want an integer type ID. So my ID is integer. Now I have already explained what is varchar, and I have also given the range of varchar. So you can see student name, my second attribute name is student name. And then I have provided my student name can be a varchar. What is the length of that student name will be? Maximum is 100. Then I have used a comma. Again, I am going to use course name, right? So this is one more attribute for my table. But be sure one thing over here, I am not using any key. I will add them as well. This is the basic part where I was showing you how can you create your first table using MySQL DDL commands. With time, we will go for using keys and how this relation works, right? So course name is basically here. So course name is also your one attribute. That is also varchar, but the length of that varchar is 40, right? Lastly, be sure about the syntax. We need to close our round bracket and then we need to give a semicolon. So this is how you have to careful whenever you are going to make a table. But one more thing, did you just notice that I have using a comma for each and every attribute, but in the last attribute I didn't use any comma, right? If you put a comma over here, you will get a cross, right? You can see there is a cross. That means your query is not right. You need to rectify your query. Maybe we will get some pop-up. but no, over here we are not getting, but this is something, it's showing your query is not right. Please look into your query. There are some mistakes, syntactical mistakes, or there are some like conceptual mistakes, right? So whenever your query is not right, you will get a cross sign like this. Now what you need to do, you just need to copy this and you just need to use a execute button. Yes, so you can say my table is already ready. But wait, how can I check that what are the tables I have in my database? So we can use again the show commands. So show, what I need to show? The database need to show tables, right? Let me just execute that. How many tables I have in my database? Okay, I have only one table, that is student table, right? So this is how you can see the table structure. Already I have shown you how can you see what are the tables you have in your database. But if I want to see the table schema or the table structure, how can I do that? To doing that, we need to use one more command that is called a describe. This is pretty clear, right? So this is how I really love MySQL, because of its simplicity. Obviously, it's simple, like it's a normal English, right? I say show tables. Your command is ready. Now I say, please describe my table that is called student table. So first you need to write the command describe and the table name you want to see the schema, right? Let me execute that. So here again, I'm going to execute. Yeah, you can see I got the field type, null, key, default and extra. But wait, what are these actually stands for? Field is basically what are the attributes you have. Type is basically what are the data types for each of the attribute. Now there comes null. Is your attributes can be null? Did you give that authority to your field that your field can be, your attributes can be null? Yes, for my case, I didn't mention anything. So that means your field can be null. And key, did I mention any key? No, I did not mention any primary key or foreign key. So yeah, this is how it's showing your table schema. So we have student ID, the first attribute, that is data type is integer. Then we have a student name attributes called varchar, which lengths have 100. Then lastly, we have a course name, which is also the type of varchar, and the length of that varchar is 40, right? So this is how you can see your describing student table. Now what I need to do, I need to use a alter command, right? So if we go back to the presentation, let's have a look at what are the commands we left so far. Okay. So here we came to the presentation again. So we left with truncate, comment and rename. So let's have one more, that is alter. So let's have a look at how can you actually use alter and truncate. So we came to the MySQL again, and let's try to add one more attribute for your student table. Let's try to do that, right? So we are going to use alter command, right? Then what you need to do, you need to provide the table name, right? So for my case, student table. Then add, what you need to add, columns, right? And then I am going to write email. And what will be the type of that email? Varchar and then 100, right? Okay, but I am getting some error. Okay, I was getting some error, but why I was getting the error? Okay, let me go back to the previous phase. So I didn't mention what you need to alter. So here you can see I need to alter table, right? So you need to specify that. Alter what? Table, and then you need to provide the table name, that is student table. Now please add what I need to add. Add the column. What's the column name? That is email. And what's the length of that? What's the type of that column, right? Or the attributes, that's varchar 100, right? So my data type is varchar and the length of that data type is 100, right? So let me just execute that. Yes, you can see my alter table command is already worked. So let me just again check my description of that student table, right? Yes, you can see here my alter email field is already added and the type of the email field is varchar 100, right? So this is how our alter works. Now we will have a look at the truncate command. I have already written over here. Let me just copy this. Okay, so truncate command is also same as the before we have used whatever the command. So basically we are going to use truncate command. Then we need to use what you need to truncate. I want to truncate my table. So basically I want to delete my table, right? And then I need to provide my table name. Okay, so this is student table, right? Let me just execute that. Yes, you can see my truncate table is already done. So if I am going to use the show table commands, let's see what's going to give me. But still it's giving me the tables I have in the database. Let me see the describe. Yes. Okay. So we have seen that if we use truncate table, still we will get the table structure in the database. But wait, why do we use truncate table? I will tell you why we use truncate table and how it's gonna work. Before that, we need to learn and we need to understand some of the other DML, DQL language as well. After learning those commands, you can understand how truncate is working and how it's actually deleting the data from the database.